that if the food has been dropped on the floor. They don't care. They don't have a standard for themselves. So they don't require a standard from anybody else. They don't care if the restaurant is nasty. You know, they don't care if the workers look nasty. This is not a knock towards anybody or directed towards anybody. I'm just putting out what I know to be true in the world today. And anybody that will argue that, well, maybe, you know, you need to go check yourself, because I'm sure the vast majority would agree with me. Like, yeah, she's telling the truth. And the only people that don't want to hear it are the ones that feel convicted. Unclean spirits are in this world today. That's why there's so much evil and so much wickedness and so much unfairness. That's the reason why professional people are being pushed to the back burner. They're being put up on the shelf. They're being mistreated. They're being abused. If not necessarily physically, they're being abused as far as the actions of others towards them. And then what you've got out there being replaced, the professional people are being replaced by clowns in a lot of situations. Not all situations, but they're being replaced by clowns. People that are not as intelligent as they are, don't carry themselves the way they do, don't dress like they do, don't have an ounce of professionalism about them. But then they want to run somebody else's name in the ground who is professional, dress professional, conduct themselves in a professional manner, all because they're jealous of that person, because that person is displaying attributes that the clown does not have. What kind of world is this? That is totally backwards. Totally backwards. And that's what you're seeing in various workplaces today. And so that's why you have all this movement from place to place to place, from establishment to establishment to establishment. And nothing is ever better. Nothing is ever greater. It's like you go from one place to another toxic place, from that toxic place to another toxic place. It's like, where can you go to earn an honest living and be left alone to do your job without having somebody breathe down your neck that is not even qualified for the position that they hold, but because they knew somebody who knew somebody, or because they're just as dirty as the ones that, you know, got them in the door, whatever. Whatever the situations may be out there. Everybody's situation is different. I'm not saying this about everybody, so don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying, you guys, it's the world we live in. That's how you know we're living in the last days. That's how you know we're living in end times. When things are on the flip side. You know, this makes me think of a TV show I used to watch when I was younger. It was called Tales from the Dark Side. And I used to love to watch, I'll just put it this way. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm tired. Strongly enjoyed watching Tales from the Dark Side. And that's really what I'm starting to feel about America. These are tales from the dark side that we're living in. It's like everything is on the flip side. Remember, for those of you that are familiar, remember how it would come on with that spooky music and it was like the flip side of reality? That's what this is starting to feel like. The flip side of reality. Like, what is this world now? What is this country now? What is it? You know, you've got people that are supposed to be running the country slinging insults back and forth at each other. And I'm not saying people aren't human or that people have to, you know, not speak their minds or whatever, but in America, we don't have time for that. We've got people out here trying to, and I'm not I know sometimes, you know, emotions can get high. I'm not knocking nobody, put nobody in their place or say this, that, and the third, because like I said, people are human. Regardless of what your job is, you're human. But this is what I am saying, you guys. We've got more important things to concern ourselves with out here. Like this deliberate homelessness that's going on out here. This deliberate unemployment that's going on out here. All this deliberate unjust, unfair behavior coming from people jerking people around with about their livelihood, attacking people's livelihoods, attacking people's finances by way of not providing stable employment, or people letting people work at establishments for a little while and then just up and one day terminate them for no reason. You guys, we need laws established to protect Americans. We need laws established to protect the livelihood of Americans. And if people want to argue that and say, well, that's up to the employer what they want to do. Well, if it's up to the employer what they want to do as it pertains to hire, fire, then don't you set minimum wage for the employer. Let them set their own minimum wage. Let them set their own maximum wage, if you want, or salaries or whatever. Let them do what they want to do independently, and don't put your mouth in it. Whoever it is out there that make the rules and regulations for the workplace, then why can't you make a rule and a regulation to protect job security for Americans? If you could do one thing, you could do another. And that's not directed towards anybody specific out there, but see, people pick and choose the things that they want to put their mouth in and put their foot down on. Can I talk about it? If OSHA can go in there and make sure that conditions are safe for employees in there, then why can't something be established, not by OSHA, but maybe perhaps another organization that has authority to say, okay, look, the way that you all are conducting your hiring process, you're jacking up the American economy. All this hiring and firing, and there's no job security and job stability with Americans, that's what's jacking up the economy. And it really is. It really is, because there's no job security. It's not only jacking up the economy, but it's also creating opportunity for crime to be committed. Because when people can't make money in workplaces, what are they going to do? They're going to go to the streets. They're going to start committing more crimes to get what? Cash money green. Let's keep it real. Job instability and the lack of job security is what's fueling the problems in America. The lack of jobs and the lack of job security. All because somebody at whatever the places are don't like somebody. It's not about like. It's about, can they do the job? And 9 times out of 10, if you are an adult, you can do it. A lot of these jobs out here, a kindergartner could probably do it. So it's not about job performances a lot of times. It's about somebody in that company don't like that person. People need to leave their personal feelings at the door and be about business. But you cannot expect somebody to be business minded that is not a business minded person. You can only expect professionalism and a business mind from somebody that is professional and business minded. But we live in a world now that lacks standards. So now it's not about what you know, it's who you know. And it gets their foot in the door. And maybe it's always been like that. I don't know, you guys. Hey, I don't know. And maybe in certain avenues, it's always been like that. I believe it has been. But to me, I feel like now it's more widespread. It's a larger problem now. You understand? I know me personally. I've worked at a lot of places that, or quite a few places where, questionable people. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to talk about those places. That's one thing I don't like to do, is talk about former employers, because, once I leave a certain establishment, to me, it's in a cemetery. I could kill less. I don't even like recollecting as far as using it as references, because I feel like once something is in the past, leave it there. But I know sometimes people have to use certain establishments as references. But who sits around and thinks about who they work for? If your life is moving forward, why are you thinking about, maybe some people do. I personally choose not to. I'm not saying certain things don't cross my mind, but who cares about that? If you're not receiving revenue from them anymore, forget them. That's just my attitude about it. But nobody has to think like I do. But my thing is, I just wanted to come on to just say that I hope that I'm glad that there are people in the world that will still take a stand for what is right. And I just never thought the day would come when I would see doctors being mistreated, and because a lot of people, they were scared of doctors, not scared like they're mean or anything, but I'm just saying, it was like oh, here comes the doctor, And now it's like the people that have one of the most, to me, prestigious jobs in the world are being treated like trash. I just I don't get it. But like I said, I saw that during COVID when a lot of the doctors were trying to stand up for what was right, and they were being terminated. And I thought to myself, I never heard talk of a doctor being fired like that. They would really have to do something bad. And, they were just standing up for what they felt was right. And I just felt like, oh my God, what is this world coming to? And people just fire them like, I'm talking about during COVID and maybe here lately too. Now, I don't know. Like they're that replaceable. Come on, you guys. I think there's a shortage of nurses, and there's probably a shortage of doctors too. I don't know, but I haven't done my research on that. But I will just say this: that to me, I see them as valuable people. Doctors and nurses are needed, and when it's somebody that you need to respect them. You can't just drive down the street or walk down the sidewalk and say, well, I'm looking for a doctor.